see my mother have to go through this again. Never, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I hate you, mother. I hate you. Something's out of control. Don't Jeffrey, I kill you. God damn it. Look at me, motherfucker. I can kill you. I can kill you.
This is the chilling tale of Jeffrey Dahmer, a name that invokes sheer terror and sends shivers down the spine. His story is one of the unimaginable evil and depravity, leaving a scar on the conscience of America. Brace yourself as we delve into the twisted mind of a killer whose actions defy comprehension. In Milwaukee, a city gripped by fear, the police discovered a horrifying scene. Body parts scattered in a north side apartment, evidence of a psychopathic mass murderer. The name Jeffrey Dahmer would forever be etched into the annals of infamy. Jeffrey Dahmer, a man like no other, faced the ultimate reckoning, a life sentence. In the courtroom, as he stood before the judge, the magnitude of his evil deeds was palpable. This was the moment when Dahmer would confront the consequences of his heinous crimes.
Your Honor, it is over now. This has never been a case of trying to get free. I didn't ever want freedom. Frankly, I wanted death for myself. This was a case to tell the world that I did what I did not for reasons of hate. I hated no one. I knew I was sick or evil or both. Now I believe I was sick. The doctors have told me about my sickness, and now I have some peace. I know how much harm I have caused. I tried to do the best I could after the arrest to make amends, but no matter what I did, I could not undo the terrible harm I have caused.
In Wisconsin, where no death penalty loomed, Dahmer faced a lifetime behind bars, a fate befitting his monstrous acts. Dahmer sought to make the world understand that his actions were not born out of hate, but rather a sickness deep within him. Diagnosed with paraphilia, substance use disorder, and schizotypal personality disorder, he believed shedding light on his illness could prevent others from succumbing to their dark desires. Yet, the trial revealed a chilling revelation. Dahmer's moments of clarity amidst the darkness. Alcohol served as a catalyst for his twisted fantasies, enabling him to commit unspeakable acts. Dahmer's sentencing was a moment of reckoning, a chance for him to confront the harm he had inflicted. In a rare display of remorse, he expressed understanding of the irreversible damage he had caused.
I know how much harm I have caused. I tried to do the best I could after the arrest to make amends, but no matter what I did, I could not undo the terrible harm I have caused.
But remorse alone could never undo the horrors that unfolded at his hands. The aftermath of Dahmer's crimes sent shockwaves through the nation. The sale of his deadly possessions, a macabre spectacle, drew attention from those fascinated by the darkest recesses of humanity. As Dahmer's trial progressed, he felt compelled to apologize to the victims' families, the judge, and the police officers he had deceived.
I take all the blame for what I did. I hurt many people. The judge in my earlier case tried to help me, and I refused his help, and he got hurt by what I did. I hurt those policemen in the Conorak matter, and I shall ever regret causing them to lose their jobs, and I hope and pray that they can get their jobs back because I know they did their best, and I just plain fooled them. For that I am so sorry.
His words, tainted with regret, couldn't erase the pain and suffering he had inflicted. Dahmer's dark path had been littered with warning signs. Prior brushes with the law, the assault of a teenage boy, and his manipulation of the justice system had paved the way for the horrifying series of murders that followed. Lives were shattered, leaving a lasting mark on history. Prepare yourself for a bone-chilling journey into the depths of darkness as we recount the haunting tale of Ted Bundy.
I'm just a normal individual.
His name reverberates with fear, his crimes staining the pages of history with blood. Brace yourself as we delve deep into the labyrinth of a twisted mind, unraveling the unfathomable acts committed by this relentless predator.
My name is Ted Bundy. I've never spoken to anybody about this.
A judge in Miami today followed the jury's recommendation and sentenced Ted Bundy to die in the electric chair for the murder of 2 co-eds. The courtroom was filled with tension as the fate of this remorseless killer was decided. Before pronouncing the sentence, Judge Edward Cowart allowed Bundy to make a statement. Bundy, unyielding and devoid of remorse, declared his innocence.
I'm not asking for mercy, for I find it somewhat absurd to ask for mercy for something I did not do. So I will be tortured for and will suffer for and receive the pain for that act. But I will not share the burden for the guilt.
He expressed that asking for mercy for a crime he did not commit would be absurd. The courtroom was gripped by the savagery of Bundy's crimes and his indifference towards the suffering he had caused. Judge Cowart, independent of the jury's recommendation, delivered the chilling verdict: the death penalty.
This court, independent of, but in agreement with, the advisory sentence rendered by the jury, does hereby impose the death penalty upon the defendant Theodore Robert Bundy.
In an unexpected moment, Judge Cowart stunned the courtroom with his parting words for Bundy. Acknowledging Bundy's intelligence and potential, the judge expressed the tragedy and waste he saw before him. He lamented the loss of a bright young man who could have made a positive contribution to society. Bundy, undeterred by the verdict, vowed to appeal. As he was led away, the reality of his impending execution loomed over him. He was ordered to the state prison, where he would await the setting of the date for his execution in the electric chair. The world recoiled in horror at the monstrous acts committed by Ted Bundy. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within seemingly ordinary individuals. The impact of his crimes on the lives of his victims and their families will never be forgotten. This is the harrowing tale of Nico Jenkins, a name that sends shivers down the spine. Prepare yourself as we venture into the dark depths of a brutal killer's twisted mind. Nikko Jenkins, the man convicted of brutal murders, faces his judgment day as he is sentenced to death. In a courtroom filled with heightened emotions, the silence hangs heavy as Jenkins, the four-time killer, remains noticeably quiet. The decision to impose the death penalty, the first since its reinstatement in Nebraska, is met with justifications. The absence of remorse from this remorseless murderer is cited as a factor. The panel of 3 judges reaches their verdict, delivering the chilling sentence.
This panel finds that the death penalty is appropriate, should be, and is hereby given for each of the 4 murders by the defendant.
In addition, Jenkins receives 12 other convictions, each carrying 40 to 50 years in prison. The magnitude of his 10-day killing spree is deemed one of the worst in the state's history. As the verdict is delivered, the weight of justice finally descends upon the families who have endured years of uncertainty. The mother of one victim expresses her overwhelming relief and desire to move forward, leaving behind the pain inflicted by Nikko Jenkins.
Absolutely one thing to say to him: he's had power over my life for 4 years, and I've struggled for 4 years. He don't get that power today. He don't get the glory today. I get the glory. My family gets the glory. God gets the glory.
Douglas County Attorney Don Kleina describes Jenkins as one of the most manipulative personalities they have ever encountered. His history and dangerous nature contribute to the court's decision to impose the maximum punishment.
And his history is a very dangerous person. And like I said, that's part of this process that the court found that he deserved the maximum punishments.
The judges carefully considered Jenkins' family background, mental illness, and the severity of his crimes. These deliberate and planned acts of murder, pre-selected victims, and purposeful killings demonstrate the sheer malevolence of Nikko Jenkins. The sentence marks a moment of healing and closure for the families who have endured 4 long years of anguish. While the possibility of execution looms, Jenkins is condemned to serve a minimum of 450 years in prison for his numerous felony convictions. This chapter in the terrible story that claimed the lives of 4 innocent souls draws to a close. But the scars it has left behind will forever haunt those affected.
Healed. That's what I want to do. I'm tired, I'm weary, and I'm ready to go home. I don't never want to see this place here.
This is the harrowing tale of Martez Abrams, a man whose malevolence sent shockwaves through an entire community. Prepare yourself for a descent into darkness as we unravel the sinister web of a crime that claimed the lives of 2 unsuspecting victims and left an officer scarred for life. In a swift verdict that took the jury less than an hour, Martez Abrams is found guilty on all 3 counts. Today, the courtroom witnessed a pivotal moment as Abrams took the stand in his defense, but his testimony left everyone speechless. The case unfolded as a battle between capital murder and first-degree murder, with Abrams ultimately convicted of killing Anthony Brown and Brandon Gales, as well as injuring a police officer. As the video replayed the horrifying events, Abrams broke down, confirming his own actions. The court couldn't ignore the undeniable truth.
That's you, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Look at it, please, sir.
Yes.
All right, proceed. Stop. Mr. Gale is on the floor going down to this point, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay. That's you shooting him, right?
Yes.
Okay, proceed. Stop it. Look at the screen, sir.
Yes.
That's you shooting him?
Yes.
And you admit that you shot him in cold blood?
Yes.
Proceed.
Prosecutors revealed additional damning evidence, accusing Abrams of committing arson to cover up the crime and evade capture. A list of incriminating items, including gasoline, a container, and a rental car, further substantiated their claims. The prosecution presented a range of weapons and protective gear allegedly taken by Abrams, indicating premeditation and a disturbing level of preparedness. Abrams attempted to justify his possession of firearms, citing concerns for his safety due to workplace issues and a previous car break-in.
I never had a gun before, but it had got to a point to where I was scared that somebody was that I was going to get hurt.
However, his reasoning failed to outweigh the gravity of his actions. The court learned that Abrams had been suspended from work just days before the shooting, adding another layer to his troubled state of mind. Abrams claimed a memory blackout during the incident.
I remember running in. I remember that. And I remember running out.
The prosecution and defense will reconvene for the sentencing phase, where the consequences for these 3 charges will be discussed.